Hi there. I'm Jack Brody, and welcome to a second episode of Tennis Gaslighting. Today, we're going to talk about the static backswing and how it really misses the mark, and it's not good for beginners, juniors, players, anyone to think about. And it's another one of those tips. Seems like from back in the '60s. Yep, I'm that old. And let's get into it.
Next step, you graduated. First off, you got a great athlete here. Turn
One thing
sideways.
I like, the guy has a lot of enthusiasm. That's a great idea.
You're on fire!
But the first thing he says is get your racket back and get sideways. I mean, literally, that is what we did in the mid 60s. And didn't work out so well for us back then. And it's actually worse today because the ball moves quicker. So getting sideways and getting your racket back, even thinking that, I don't care what level, what stage you're at in your tennis, not a good thing to think about. You want to be continuous, right? The ball never stops, right? Rises, falls, rises. The ball never stops, and so neither should you, especially if you want to get rhythm and timing with the ball. You've got to sort of mimic the flight of the ball. So let's keep going.
Again, ready?
Yeah, so she's really off balance, and I mean, she's doing a good job. She's a great student.
On fire.
He's very
Go up a little
enthusiastic.
higher right now. Up
You
higher.
see, and he may even be
See
working
why
on
you got to
something
be
like the
careful with
grip.
words. We're going to put top spin on that.
But having
Hold
to
it.
start in that position,
Wow.
literally to be stopped,
Turn.
is
See, if I
not
didn't know you and I saw
correct.
you come here with that.
And he's making sure that she starts in that ready position on the backhand. And that's not the way tennis really works. Tennis is an analog game, and you're constantly morphing, right? From the ready position, that nice, that nice nonlinear, non-static moving ready position, and you morph into the strokes.
Rip. Watch how much power she gets. Watch.
Power. Well, she's hitting a red ball, so.
Let's go!
Now, watch a real player. Now, this is Warren Wood, a student of mine for about 14 years from the time he was 4 years old. And just watch how beautiful his strokes are. Watch how continuous they are. Nothing ever stops. See that? The hips don't stop. And that's Steve Foreman. He was number one in the country. I worked with him for about 13, 14 years as well. And watch how these guys, their arm never stops and their hips never stop. So they're continuously moving and gauging the ball with their own movements. And so how I coach it is, well, here's my 7-year-olds, how we coach it right from the get-go, brand new student. I let her know that you want to be continuous, right? Your hips never stop. And so I just keep dropping that ball quickly. I noticed a lot of the pros do this drill as well. It's very quick. See, as soon as she's back, she's forward. So you get to connect the backswing to the foreswing, right? And then you get momentum and your rackets gets pulled into the stroke rather than you muscling the ball from your arms. Here's a little thing I did on just what we're talking about now, continuous motion. Important to stay continuous for many reasons. Number one, for your strokes. You want to stay continuous so the racket never hitches, never stops. Same with the ground strokes, right? So this whole idea of having a starting position really, really hurts you because under pressure, that's when hitches come in. That's when you're stopped and you have to regain your momentum. But if you stay continuous, slow and continuous the whole time, kind of like you are in your ready position, right? You're in your idle position. You're ready to unfold into a forehand or morph into a backhand. Now, I know my left hand came forward. I couldn't decide whether I was going to do a two-y or a one-hander. So I sort of did a 1.5. Don't do that, okay? If you're going to hit a one-hander, leave your left hand behind you or leave your backhand on, your non-dominant hand on the racket. So I was just couldn't decide which one I wanted to show. That's why you start like this, in my opinion, as opposed to bouncing up and down, because you want to start moving the way you're going to be stroking the ball. So continue. I've always found the better returners in the game, Agassi, Nadal. Nadal's the bull, right? He scrapes his feet, and they get into that nonlinear, that continuous motion on the return of serve, as opposed to some of the first round losers that bounce up and down. I always feel like it's better to sort of be in that universal stroke in the ready position. Continuous motion is really one of the keys to our system. And then I found this very interesting for a couple of reasons. Number one, I like the drill she's doing. I have a friend, Art Carrington. He does this drill a lot. I do it as well. I think it's a great drill. And you get to see the continuous motion, right? She does this little figure eight with the tail on her racket. And I really like it. And for you people last week that say that the arm moves first and the body follows, I don't think so. Take a look. Watch. We'll watch in slow motion, frame by frame. Look what's moving first. The hips. See that? Racket's still in front of her, but the hips are already almost to the side. See? So the hips draw the racket in. See that? Watch the hips. And now, right as the racket gets back, watch the hips. They switch directions. See, they round the corner in her nice figure eight in her hips. See that? There it is. And here they come. There they are. Take a look. So you see that? So the hips move first, and they move in a continuous motion or a continuous figure eight, and the racket follows. So I really think that is a great drill, and she shows it very well. Here's Warren from above. Uh, Watch, same thing. Watch how he never stops, and look how the hips come around first. Boom, there they are. See? The hips lead the stroke, and then the arm follows. You know, I had a talk once with Tony Gwynn. We talked for almost 3 hours on the field over at San Diego State, and because he was buying some of my swivel products, and he said in baseball, you know, the hands move first, unlike tennis. I said, well, I think you're wrong, Tony. I said, you're one of the greatest hitters of all time. By the way, God rest his soul. And he said, no, I think my hands move first. So I said, let me video you. So we went out to the field. He tossed a few balls, clocked them beautifully. I zoomed in on his hands and his hips, you know, the mid level, and he saw it and he said, well, I guess my hips do move a little bit before the swing. I said, Tony, that's everything. That little bit is what makes the rest of the swing available to you. So the bigger muscles dictate, okay? Not the little muscles. And nothing stops. If you're a real good player, you want to be fluid. And here's a great backhander. Look again. Look at that beautiful hip rotation, and it never stops. So listen, if you're interested in more of this nonlinear game, which we feel is really is the better game, comment book and, you know, dip your toe in the water and read the book. It's got a lot of good videos in it as well. It's an ebook. And it's free unless you want to tip the old man. That's fine too. It doesn't matter to me. So comment book after this. Make sure to, you know, like us, subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. And if you're interested in taking a deep dive, join our community by typing in community, and we'll let you in on all the secrets. So see you next week when we do episode 3 of Tennis Gaslighting.